Welcome back to the Eric Krown post-surgery channel as we get ready for a really big next 48 hours with FOMC meeting coming up on Wednesday. And then I want to follow up on the higher term time frame signals that we've been following that has suggested this move was very likely. So with that in mind, I want to, yes, once again remind everyone that I've been actually a lot more active on Instagram, which I have a link to in the description below, because it's just easier for me, especially during, times like this when I'm not necessarily in the best situation to be putting out videos, to be posting up updates. And I think it's just, it's just a good way to kind of keep in touch and also cover some other things as well. So if you happen to give a care, that is available to you in the link description below. All right, sweet. So let's just roll it up over here. I want to start it off with, of course, the biggest signal, the one signal to rule them all, the one signal that has once again hit its mark, or very close to its mark, I should say, and that is the daily BBWP versus stochastic momentum signal. So daily BBWP, of course, represents volatility, the dispersion of returns, and anytime that we have seen the signal get below 10 percentile, the expansion phase from that extreme low has led to an average move of about, well, 23.63% done over the course of just over 13 days, and the stochastic momentum oscillator has gone the direction 75% of the time correctly, and that's actually going to go up now because it has once again done it. It's done it again, baby. So where are we within the context of this, and what is to update? Well, we did hit essentially what would have been the average move, which is about 23,000 bucks on this one. But the thing is that this is an average, obviously, and there's some variance in these numbers. You can see the last one that we did see, which was in early May, was about 32.24% from high to low on that signature. So in this case, I would say that there's a very good shot that we have not seen the full move just yet, because the way that I'll define the full move is when we see the daily BBWP, just like we saw over here in May, get to an extreme level and then turn down. So right now it's still expanding. It's getting quite high. So the move is, very likely reaching a climax here pretty damn soon. It's currently at about 90.87 percentile, which is, definitely reasonable, but I really want to see it actually start to curl down and then preferably get to below the moving average right there before I say, hey, we're very likely going to look at some sort of a consolidation, maybe a big bounce, something like that. And we're done going lower for now. And I'm not saying forever. This is just for now, if you will. So with that in mind, let's just see what if Bitcoin were to play out one of these deeper moves compared to, even the last one, about 32%. Well, where would that put Bitcoin as far as a percentage move goes? And 32% actually puts us basically where we're at right now. So to be fair, that is already hit as well. I'm just going to see, do we have anything that's even greater than that? Let's see. Okay, we got 34% over there. Yeah, we got 40% over here. Okay, so that's the highest move that we've seen thus far since recording this data, I do believe. Just under 40%. So let's just see what that would look like on current price action, and that put Bitcoin basically just below 20,000 bucks, which personally speaking, I do think that's about where you start to see people panic. So with that in mind, I do still think Bitcoin can maybe have one more swipe lower in the short term before tomorrow, but I do think that we're very likely to play out a bounce, somewhere within that range on a reasonable daily closing basis. So here is the other way to kind of judge that the signal is still, very much active, and that is the daily stochastic momentum oscillator, of which the downside pivot for this is still at 29,225 or so. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, signal still active, of course, and risk does remain to the downside. But as we're going to go over in the short-term timeframes, I do think that there is reason to believe that while Bitcoin might have another short-term move to the downside, it's going to be kind of difficult to get it like much lower in the short term. Not saying that it can't go lower in the long term. That's definitely possible. In fact, in some ways, I'm going to suggest probable, but perhaps not on today's video, because I want to make this one a little bit more on the short side. So with that in mind, we got that. Again, keep your eyes on the daily BBWP and the stochastic momentum oscillator, as those are the two things that are going to be pretty damn good in getting the general majority of this move in this case. So now let's go into the short-term timeframes, and we'll talk about why I think Bitcoin will very likely retest perhaps somewhere around our current lows of this move, maybe even a little bit lower, perhaps even just below 20,000 bucks as we just saw. But two, I don't think it necessarily has the momentum or strength built up in this move to like really, blast through on a higher term time frame closing basis. It's not the same thing as like a wick, further down, but on a higher term time frame, like daily is what we're saying. So first and foremost is actually the one indicator which has just been so damn consistent. It's just getting hilarious over here. The daily funding rates, not the daily funding rates, the hourly funding rates here are the lowest that we've seen. I'm just kind of going to compare it to some of the other major ones that we've seen. Basically since December, that move to the downside that we saw in December where we hit negative 0.036%. This one in comparison is negative 0.028%. So that is, of course, shorts paying long, kind of difficult for those late shorters to, hold their positions when, well, realistically, I think, again, the majority of that move probably has played out based off of the daily. So in the short-term timeframes, two things are going on right now. We got a bit of a tale of two cities. One, we do see hourly is having it will have hidden bearish divergence basically no matter what, as long as we're below like 27,000 bucks, let alone the last little local high that we did see at about 24,000 bucks. So very likely we do see, perhaps something like this and maybe retest somewhere around the lows. If you're super bearish, then you probably get a little bit of a new low. Again, maybe that could be 19 to 20,000 bucks. We have a big event tomorrow with FOMC meeting, so that will certainly be a catalyst. And I suspect that if something really nasty does happen and they raise rates by like 75, well, that would do it. That would very likely do it, because it is a bit of a sombering detail that I certainly would not feel comfortable calling any sort of like a big respectable bounce in this case, like a multi-$1,000 bounce until we get at minimum bullish divergence on like a 4-hour time frame. And realistically, because this move is so big and such an extreme move, really on a lower time frame like this, we want to see like 3 drives of bullish divergence. And right now, we don't even have one, obviously, because, this just made its first potential low. So that would imply that Bitcoin first, tries for a little bit of a short-term bounce right here, comes back down, sets in a lower low and a higher low on RSI, and then maybe does it again for a third time. And then you get your nice little bounce, or maybe big bounce, who knows? So yeah, do be aware of that as well. Anyways, what also we can do over here is follow up on the short-term time frame stochastic momentum pivots. Hourly is this is something that I meant to say. It's pedaling, but we ain't going nowhere. And what does that mean? Well, hourly momentum is headed to the upside here, but is pivoted right around about 21,700. Obviously, Bitcoin's above that right now, but you can see that this is obviously a corrective move as hourly HVP of stochastic momentum volatility is contracting here, and you're going to see that on all time frames. Actually, let me just double check. Whoops, wrong chart. Here's a 4-hour. Yep, we hit extremes over here. We're actually below the moving average now as well. So move very likely on the short-term time frame starting to lose its steam here. 6-hour, same thing, or getting there, I should say. 12-hour is definitely way the fuck up there as well. So, anyways, going back into this chart over here. Yeah, that's basically all I'll say about that. Short-term upside move very likely does get pushed back. The question is, how high does it get first? And I would expect, well, let's pull a fib on this one from the actual breakdown to where we're at right now. Yeah, the 382 is pretty much exactly where we're at. 0.5 would be another area of interest, right around about 23.9, and then you got the 6-minute at 24.700 or so, which I think would kind of be like asking for a little bit too much. I think at best it'd do the 0.5 at 23.9, and at worst probably actually just turns down from here, and honestly that probably is what's going to happen right there. But hey, I'm not calling that just yet. Anyways, what else can we see? We can see the 3-hour. I think that one has a lot of merit on it. Just getting its freshened up right here, but same thing as the hourly. This is corrective signal. Will be with upside momentum as long as Bitcoin's above 21.5. 4-hour is, again, same thing. 21,120 is the magical number right there. 6-hour is going to be showing basically just below 22,000 bucks. Again, corrective signal. And 12-hour has actually not crossed the upside just yet, and won't until you do see a closure above 24,750 or so. So things still pretty heavy to the downside there. Obviously, daily, as we already looked at, is pivoted below 29,225, and that's just CME. Spot is actually at it's actually significantly lower at about 26,000 bucks. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. If there is going to be, a nice major local low set in, probably happens around there. But before then, I do expect that Bitcoin, probably does retest somewhere around these lows, maybe a little bit lower than that. But we are seeing, some good signals of resetting in this market now. I don't think it's necessarily done just yet, but the global open interest over here is nosediving. We are at the lowest levels that we've seen basically since September of last year when Bitcoin was put in a major low. Now, this was obviously different market conditions. I'm not saying that is in any way, shape, or form relevant for a macro low here. In fact, I don't think that it is. But I suspect that we will see this correct further actually over time, somewhere into the $7 to $6 billion $7 to $6 billion marker right there. Anyways, we're 10 minutes into this video. I think that's probably a good place. Yeah, probably a good place to leave this one off. Again, higher term timeframes, I haven't really mentioned anything about a macro low. I don't think that we've seen it just yet. And honestly, when it comes to macro lows, you're going to see a lot of people on crypto YouTube, crypto Twitter, crypto Reddit, whatever the fuck, throughout these numbers. And, someone's going to be right and they'll just be, tooting their own horn, of course. But in my experience, when it comes to extreme events like this, it's very, very difficult to get the actual low. What can be done, however, is what we've done in the past, which is get the first higher low. So that's essentially what I'm looking for. And obviously right now we don't, have anything even close to that. So until then, risk does remain to the downside, but I do think that we've seen a strong majority of this move before the next bounce, so to speak, on a respectable time frame. So I'll be signing off right there. I also want to say just a massive heartfelt thank you for the support. With all the people commenting on YouTube here and sending me messages on Instagram. It's really been amazing. I can assure you I'm fine, just in a shit ton of pain and taking a shit ton of Oxycontins, I think they're called, which kind of fun, but hopefully I can get off them pretty damn soon, which I think will be tomorrow. I've really been trying to respond to a lot of messages there, especially on Instagram, but it's just I hope that I can just do it on a video like this. So with that said, wishing you well as always, take care and see you hopefully soon.